Biden's urn with his ashes inside rather than Donald Trump?
Listen, if they wheel that dude out and he's got an IV drip in him, I'm still voting for him over Donald Trump.
President Joe Biden has achieved something that for many years seemed impossible. He appears to have unified America, not behind a policy, an ideology, or a dream, but behind the blunt truth that he's no longer fit to serve.
Which is absolutely insane to me that we are just now coming to this reality. Well, anyway, right? Not the regular American, like me and you who are discussing this, watching this, whatever. Not us. We're not just coming to this reality, but in fact, it is the media that's allowed the people to talk about it. If you guys remember in the beginning, a lot of us were saying something's wrong with Joe Biden, something's wrong with Joe Biden, something's wrong with Joe Biden. And the media would censor people and say, you're mean for noticing that something's wrong with Joe Biden and not have the discussion. Now, the media wants us to have the discussion. That says a lot. That says a lot. But we're going to go ahead and move on because everybody's like, let's see what Destiny's saying real quick about this point that he's trying to make here.
Do just as good as Biden would. But I mean, people said the same thing, that DeSantis would represent a strong challenge to Trump, and he got absolutely obliterated. It's easy to look at a candidate that hasn't gone through the ringer, that hasn't been tested in a national level election. But who knows if Newsom comes out, there could be one or two little scandals lurking behind the curtains that now we see that gets infinite airtime over the next few months. The reality is that Biden is probably the best shot the Democrats have right now to win.
I mean, you want to just ask yourself, what kind of drugs is Destiny? Okay.
Do you genuinely believe he should therefore continue and be the nominee?
I think that the Democrats should run the best candidate that they can to defeat Donald Trump. Absolutely,
you keep distancing yourself from this, Destiny. Come on.
Put
your head over the parapet. What do you think?
Well, I think that Joe Biden is the best candidate right now, given that he's already beaten Donald Trump in one election. I think that Joe Biden is the best candidate right now to run against Donald Trump.
You think
that beating Donald Trump is really important?
Hang on. Sorry, I don't want to be unfair to you, Destiny, but of all the Democrats in America, how many are there? I mean, tens of millions, right? Of all of them, you think Joe Biden right now, after that debate, is the best candidate the party can produce? Seriously?
I'm sure there are better candidates, but it's not about who the best candidate is. It's about who the best candidate is. I'm sure that you could flip a coin and find somebody that might end up performing better. But again, look at how many people have these huge reputations. Look at Cuomo and how he was destroyed after a couple scandals. Like, you have no idea if you take a candidate who looks strong. And I admit, Newsom looks strong. He's amazing on-stage presentation and everything. But who knows if you throw him up that there are just one or two accusations or one or two scandals or one or two things that the American public doesn't know about that now dominates the news cycle for the next few months. And even though he was a strong candidate on paper, like DeSantis, he disappears.
Okay.
It's really good to be outside of theater and understand things and how they actually work. I'm going to start by saying that. And then I'm going to say that people like this who actually think they're making some sort of argument here, I have to ask if they hate the country that they live in. Because if I wanted to play this game, this whole game about getting rid of Joe Biden, who are they going to put in? Oh, right. Like, we'll put the clown makeup on. We'll put the clown makeup on, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get back in the ring and we'll say, oh, the Democrats might switch out Joe Biden. Who's it going to be for? So for somebody who would be making this argument, I have to ask, do you hate America? Like, what's wrong? Like, do you really hate the country? Like, why would you even lie and say that Joe Biden is the best candidate?
Tommy Lohan, you've been waiting patiently, actually for several years, to say what I think you're about to say, which is that, of course, they should get rid of Biden and try and...
Before Tommy Lohan goes on and says the usual thing, sorry, that the conservatives are going to say, yes, Biden's been, we've been saying this for a long time. Something's wrong with Biden. And now the Democrats are seeing, and, I kind of have a feeling where this is going to go. Guys, I want to thank you for watching. And please don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Just thank you always for supporting and watching. Thank you.
Parachuting in somebody like Newsom. I mean, do you feel a bit vindicated by what's been going on?
I feel very vindicated, but I'll also say, Piers, I hope that they run Joe Biden. That would be the easiest contest for Donald Trump to beat, would be Joe Biden.
Right.
So as much as I do believe they're going to select another candidate, I hope that they maintain with Joe Biden. I hope that that's their guy. And if
about 4 minutes of her repeat.
But nobody's gonna say Kamala Harris, Kamala, right? I don't say Kamala. Kamala, not Kamala. It's Kamala. It was always Kamala. I don't know why anybody ever like capitulated to Kamala. It's spelled Kamala. Anyway, she was trying to get away from her Indianness or something. I don't know. What has Kamala send this to The View and let them know that even Black people can't say the name. What has she done? You know? What has she been doing?
Repeating the same line. This is a little bit of it. Watch this.
What could be, unburdened by what had been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. What we can see, what we believe can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been, you know?
That's what we deserve, though. I mean, it's a theater. It's a clown theater. So we certainly deserve for, you know, for them to do this kind of stuff and say these kind of things. I just want to see if Matthew Knowles ever gets a moment with here we go with the MAGA is a cult, you know.
Just against him, right? But no one's talking about it. They're all talking about whether the
shows
guy
that a lot
currently
of
in the
people-
White House can even know what day it is. That's the
A
problem.
lot of people would vote for a corpse over Donald Trump. That
they
is
may have
actually
to.
says more
They may
about
have
Donald
to.
Trump than it does about Joe Biden. Let's go.
All right. Michael Knowles, apparently people will vote for a corpse over Donald Trump.
They will, and please let them do it. Let the partisan Democrats do it. I'm now all in on the Democratic rhetoric. The Democratic primary voters have made their decision. They want Joe Biden as their nominee. It would be an assault on the integrity of this country and on our sacred democracy if they replace him now. I can't wait to see him in all 50 states. You know, at this point, obviously, the man is not up to the job. So someone else is running the country, whether that's Jill, whether it's Ron Klain, whether it's, I don't know, whether it's Barack Obama.
You know what's really
behind,
interesting, Michael?
You know,
This is really
You know what? And hold on.
interesting to me, this panel, because if we'd gone back, 3 months, you'd have all been shouting at each other, arguing about Trump. The two siding to the Democrat side here on the panel, you've been neutered by what's happened. I can feel that the luster has gone.
And that's good. That's a good, by the way, segue for Piers Morgan to not allow Michael Knowles to talk about who really is running the country. I mean, I think the American people have the right to ask that question. I think that the American people should know who's running their country. You know, I mean, like, really, who's running this country? Because it's just a mess. It is. And so we'll look at this last clip with Michael Knowles and Destiny kind of going off.
president has
Those Supreme Court justices were literally lost by McConnell just robbing a president of the right to seat a judge. Nobody remembers that Garland was supposed to be on the Supreme Court for almost a full year. McConnell said, we're not going to have that hearing. That is indefensible.
Let me bring in
You can say
Michael.
indefensible- oh my God.
Tommy has
Just
to
say
leave in a
originally-
moment. So Michael, come to you, then come back to Tommy for a final wrap from her. But Michael.
Destiny, the principle that you're articulating that a president should be able to put a judge on the court in an election year, or rather that you say Mitch McConnell violated, was a rule first articulated by Joe Biden in the 90s when he was trying to kill George Bush's judges. So obviously there was a decision today. It said that the president has some immunity for criminal acts or acts committed in his official capacity as president. And this is based on a 40-year precedent. It really goes all the way back to the Marshall Court. Really nothing should be surprising about this. And yes,
to
the
be clear,
Democrats
that is
are upset.
absolutely
They're
not true.
inveighing.
That this is
Just
based
let me
on
finish
precedent.
1 second, Destiny. They're inveighing because they say we should be talking about the immunity case. Well, but part of the articulation of, I just was reading the decision, was that, look, this is the first time that you've got a president who's being prosecuted in this way. And that's the problem, because the vast majority of Americans, right, left, and center, have been saying in survey after survey that they view the prosecutions of Trump as primarily politically motivated. They view this as kind of corrupt. And that's one of the reasons why Biden's poll numbers have been so bad for so long. And so they throw this Hail Mary to do a debate in June before either party has settled on a nominee. And it completely blew up in their face. And so no wonder people want to talk about it. You've got a political order that is fraying. You got a guy trying to put his opponent into an orange jumpsuit. And it turns out the guy who's trying to do that has applesauce for brains. No.
Now, so let me give you my bit on that. Okay, so the Supreme Court rules that Donald Trump has immunity. So whatever official act that he takes as a president, he has total immunity to it. Like whatever official act that he took, he has immunity, right? So it automatically, pretty much, if you really think about it, every last case on Donald Trump drops immediately, right? And so everybody, let's get together and let's have a party, let's hold hands and let's strike up the band, right? No, not for me. Sorry. I'm not so, you know, I mean, it's pretty evident who I voted for in 2020 and everything else, but I'm not so sold on just a person, if you will, that I will sell out the country. I actually agree with Destiny because I know he's going against it. People are saying they're adding their own words to it. Some immunity, a little bit. No, I've argued this on Mario Nafal's space on Twitter. And I said, I was like, this is a bit much. I was like, I actually don't like this because this gives now carte blanche. We effectively have gone into a liberal monarchy. Okay. So if tomorrow Joe Biden decides that he wants to just arrest American citizens because there's too much misinformation on, so you know what I mean? Follow me? Are you following me? Right? He effectively can do that. And no, he won't be held, nothing will be held against him. Like the thing is, with all of these kind of cases, it gives more power. I'm very, very, very like, you know, cynical about who we give power to. They should have never brought up prosecution on Donald Trump. And now I'm starting to think that that was the whole purpose of doing it, was to act like we're going to prosecute him so that we can get a real precedent in the Supreme Court for immunity for a president. Now it can't be contested, right? Effectively, everything might as well just go ahead and drop. Maybe that campaign's money case, okay, but everything else is an official act of the president, right? It's an official act, okay. So, and while it sounds good for the person who's just voting for Trump, and it does sound good, it is horrible to think about if, God forbid, we've ever go into another coup or anything else like that. Just let that marinate. I am never so hype about any human that I lose my mind and can't have discernment with what's going on. Sometimes we have to step outside of everything. And I said that on the space. I said, look, because there was a panelist who said, and for anybody who doesn't know, it's Twitter Spaces. I am that girl KC on Twitter. And if you ever want to, you know, I do go on Spaces. It's like, you know, it's like live streams, but like on the phone. Anyway, I said, you know, I said this one lady, I said, this effectively gives the president, you know, carte blanche literally to do whatever and call it an official act. And she said, well, it's not like the president's going to really, you know, do something like, but, you know, because Harry Sisson said, well, now, you know, Biden could take out the Supreme Court, you know, or whatever. And I said, well, technically he could. And she said, he's not going to do that. And I said, no. I don't live like this after I saw 2 weeks to slow the spread and what that turned into. I'll leave it there.